I've just popped out onto the chute today, and this has come in the post. Now, you might remember me talking to the Cornwall Red Squirrel project, and they were building feeders and traps and whatnot, and I really liked them. And a parcel came for me today, and it feels very much like one of their feeders. I was talking to them at the show. I told them that I had one set up in the woods, but it had seen better days and a little bit rotten. So they very kindly sent me a new one to test and to see how it works. So we're going to crack the box open now and see what's inside. Right then, here we have it. So in the box then we have, first thing I saw was this spinner, and it's a neat little spinner. So on one side you've got your normal disc, about your average size of a squirrel's head. Well, kill zone on a squirrel's head, and then on top you've got a little squirrel as well, and that'll just screw into the side of the tree, or to the side of the feeder, probably the tree though, and just act as something to make sure you're on zero. Also in the box is a nail, in the bag is a nail, and that's for opening the feeder, so it saves you having to carry a screwdriver around with you, which is what I'm doing at the minute, and it just keeps the box locked shut, and this nail allows you to open it, but we'll look more into that in a minute. So here's the beast of a feeder. Oh yes, what a beautiful thing. So first off, you can see there's an aluminium plate on here, and that'll stop any pellets passing through the squirrels and entering into the feeder itself, so it'll improve the longevity quite a bit. The feeder that I've got in there at the minute, it's got a few pellet holes in it, and as you'll see, it's looking a bit worse for wear. Let's see then. Okay, so the idea is to screw the spinner on the side of the feeder by the looks of it. So the concealed catch is there, so if I use this nail, there's a little hole here. I can't open it. If I was a squirrel I wouldn't be able to open it, but if I push that in, unlocks it and pops it open. So that's shut on there now. Just poke that in, that unlocks it, locked. Nice. Probably find somewhere to poke this so I don't lose it. So I'll quickly go into a few of the features on this feeder then. So you've seen the neat nail design. Just poke that in there and open it up. But once it's open, we saw this at the show, but I'll show everyone again. There's a funnel design that pushes all the food down into the bottom. So I've tried to do a similar thing on my very crude version in the woods behind me, but this just takes it to a new level and pushes it all out into this very neat little feeding station here, so that the least amount of food is wasted as possible. This again allows that if the feed is empty, the squirrels aren't going to try and destroy the feeder because they can smell there's food inside. If there's no food in there, they're not going to try and tear it apart. It's covered in this stainless steel mesh that'll stop the squirrels chewing through the wood. Aluminium backstop, like we said earlier, a very narrow foot plate for the squirrels to sit on here, and this forces them to face inwards, sideways, presenting a clear shot, and you've got the little feeding port there, so food's not being spread all over the place. On the back we've got these two bits of wood, and that just sits off the tree a little bit, so what that allows is if any moisture gets down between the tree and the feeder when it's raining, it's not going to sit there and rot the wood, again improving the longevity of the feeder. And you can see I've fitted the spinner on the side there, so yeah, I can check my zero really quickly. I think that's about it. Let's go and set it up. When I'm choosing somewhere to put a feeder, the first thing I think of is the entry point. So the bit where I come into the woods, I want it to be concealed. As I'm coming in here, there's a load of rhododendrons on my left, behind me, and this is all excellent cover. So I know that if I stalk along the roadies here and to the left hand side there, I'll have a clear shot. I know I come into the woods, I'm thinking if I'm stalking along here nice and quietly, the squirrels aren't going to know I'm here. I can approach the feeder with as minimal disturbance as possible. And I found this tree here. So this tree behind me here is perfectly camouflaged by this conifer here, so I can approach there without any disruption whatsoever. You can see I've already thought this out, and it's actually the perfect height for a shot as well. So I've already set a feeder up there now, and I've had a few squirrels off it already, but I'm just going to show you what I mean. I can approach from way back here without the squirrels noticing. I can have a peek round. If I spot a squirrels on the feeder, I can get nice and low, rest my gun in the V of the tree, which is in a perfect place, and then just take a really steady, humane kill. Yeah, I know it's worked because I've done it 15 times already. So yeah, let's get rid of the old one and set up the new one. Another thing I did was I cleared my line of sight from my shooting position, which is that tree, all the way to the feeder. So I've cut all of these rhododendrons down to the right size. A little bit of a stray one there that needs to clip, and also any overhanging branches. So like these bits of beech twigs, I just snap them off, so I had a perfect line of sight, because the last thing you want is to put all the effort in, set up your feeder, go to take the shot and clip a twig and completely miss. That would just be the most frustrating thing in the world. So yeah, just put that extra little bit of effort in and it'll make the world of difference. Well, the plan definitely works. This one was on the feeder, so I headshot him, he jumped off to the right and just keeled over. Perfect headshot. And then I've also got a trap out as well, because I want to get as many as possible, so this way I can hunt them without even being here. As long as I check it once a day, or usually twice a day, it's fine. It's a humane trap, so it's illegal to let them go. Obviously I would never do that anyway, because I want as many of them dead as possible. But yeah, that's an easy two. Very easy pest control. I had to put no effort in. All I've got to do is come and check it once a day, bring the rifle. If there's one on the feeder, shoot it. And every day so far there's been one in the trap. And I've now killed 14 out of this wood in just over a week, so there's quite a few about. These squirrels as well aren't being wasted. There's actually a guy in the village just up the road who makes burgers and eats them in all sorts of ways, so that's another positive thing. Well, this one you'll have seen in a few videos. I've shot a couple of squirrels off it. I just made it out of a bit of pallet wood. Didn't take very long to make it all, but it's done the job. However, it's starting to get a bit past its best, and I've had to repair it quite a few times, so it's time to take this one down and bang the new fancy Dan one up. That will hopefully last a lot longer than this old thing. I've set the feeder on the tree now. I've set it at a height that badgers and things couldn't climb up to it, and also it's pretty easy for me to fill up. That's my general thinking anyway. Well, that's the feeder set up above now. I'm just going to reset the trap, put some earth in the bottom just to make it blend in a little bit better. The bait I'm using is just corn. It's really cheap and seems to work very well. I haven't caught any songbirds in here yet, but even if I did, it wouldn't be the end of the world. So I'll just put a nice pile in there and then just sprinkle some around to entice them in. You can see there a squirrel's been chewing on a pine cone. Very sort of typical chewing marks of a squirrel there. And then to set it, I just pull this rod up here. I like to have it set nice and high so the squirrel's going to almost jump over it, and then that'll just ensure a clean trip then. So when the squirrel taps that plate, the cage comes down and the squirrel's trapped inside. The reason I'm so keen on killing the squirrels here is because we've now got pheasants nesting and I don't want the squirrels taking the eggs. Not only that, they take the songbirds' eggs as well and strip the bark of the trees. There is the argument of the red squirrels, which applies more to sort of down Cornwall where there actually are some reds, but here they're just infestated, and we need to really knuckle down and kill a few thousand before there's even or a few million before there's even the chance of seeing any reds. But I'm just going to keep on nailing them. Yeah, I mean that's another 2 down, so that's 14 out of this wood, and that number's just going to keep on growing because I ain't giving up. There's the plan in action with the new feeder then. Just stalked in around the roadies, looked around the corner, saw there was one on the feeder, popped up onto that V of a tree, had a nice solid rest. The squirrel was just looking dead at me, and took the shot and dropped him nicely, and he just thrashed around a bit and kicked into the undergrowth here. Just typical of a headshot. Yeah, works well. Nothing in the trap today, unfortunately. Last few days there hasn't actually been anything. I caught a rat, but I'm not really counting that. But the trap seems to be getting set off with no squirrels in. So it's just strange that I caught 10 in a row and then nothing for a few days. But try a few different things until I start catching them again. But I hope you enjoyed the video. The feeder obviously works. Sat him in the perfect angle. And the pellet thankfully didn't go through and smash a big hole in it, so the aluminium backplate did the job. Yeah, thanks again.